Hello guys. This is your friend Itachi Fanfic 3.0 and we are back a new fanfic story which is let's start fanfic without wasting more time. What if their kiss made their chakras unite forever? Part 1. The battlefield was quiet now. Ash drifted through the air like snow, and the scent of burning earth hung heavy. The war that had torn nations apart was finally ending, and amidst the broken ground stood Naruto Uzumaki, glowing like the sun itself. The cloak of the Nine Tails chakra mode shimmered around him, its golden flames dancing with every heartbeat. But even in his victory, his heart ached. He had fought for everyone. For his friends, for peace, for a future where no one had to suffer as he once did. Yet, the one person he had fought hardest for was lying motionless before him. Hinata, he whispered, his voice trembling. Her dark hair was matted with dust, her vest torn, her soft hand cold in his. She had jumped in front of him again, just like she did all those years ago, taking the blow meant for him. He had seen it happen in slow motion. Her body flying backward, her blood staining the earth, her pale eyes closing. Naruto's chest tightened. He clenched his fists, golden flames flaring brighter around him. Why did you do that again, Hinata? He muttered, voice breaking. You promised me you'd stop putting yourself in danger for me. But there was no response. Only the faint whisper of wind. Naruto closed his eyes and placed his hand gently over her heart. You once told me that you believed in me when no one else did. That my smile saved you from the darkness, his voice softened, trembling. Now it's my turn. He poured his chakra into her. Warm, steady, overflowing with life. Golden energy spread from his hand into her body, wrapping her in a soft glow. He could feel her heartbeat faintly, flickering like a dying flame. Come on, Hinata, please, he whispered. Minutes passed like hours. And then, her fingers twitched. Her eyelids fluttered open, revealing those familiar Byakugan eyes, cloudy yet beautiful. Naruto-kun, she whispered weakly. Naruto froze. For a moment, everything inside him broke. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight, as if afraid she would vanish if he let go. You idiot, he said softly, laughing and crying at once. Don't you ever scare me like that again. Hinata's lips curved into a weak smile. I couldn't let you get hurt. Not again. Naruto shook his head, pressing his forehead to hers. You don't get it. If anything happened to you, I'd lose everything. For a moment, time itself seemed to stop. The golden flames around him softened, wrapping both of them in light. They could feel each other's heartbeat, the same rhythm, the same warmth. Naruto lifted her face gently, brushing her cheek with his thumb. Her eyes shimmered with tears, reflecting his glowing form like a star reflected in still water. Hinata, you've always been there for me, he said quietly. Even when I was nothing, even when the whole village turned its back on me, you believed I could be something more. You saw me before I even saw myself. Hinata blushed, her heart fluttering. That's because you've always inspired me. You never gave up. You never stopped smiling. Naruto smiled faintly. And now I can't stop thinking about you. Before she could respond, he leaned in and kissed her. It was gentle at first, a whisper of warmth, like sunlight after a storm. Then it deepened, full of every emotion they had buried for years. Fear, love, hope, pain, everything unspoken between them. The flames around Naruto flared higher, golden and alive, wrapping them in a circle of light. Even the broken ground beneath them began to heal, grass sprouting through cracks as their chakra intertwined. When they finally pulled away, Hinata's face was crimson, her breath trembling. Naruto-kun, that was long overdue, he said with a grin. She laughed softly, a sound he realized he'd been fighting for all along. The sun was setting behind the ruins of the battlefield. The war was over. But for Naruto and Hinata, Something new had just begun. They walked through the quiet woods hand in hand. Birds were returning, singing softly, and the air carried the scent of life again. Naruto's cloak of flames had faded, leaving only the faint warmth of his chakra. Do you remember? Hinata said, breaking the silence, back in the Chunin exams, when I told you that I wanted to be stronger, just like you. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, you said you hated being shy. I still remember how nervous I was, she continued with a small smile. Back then, I didn't think you'd ever even notice me. Naruto stopped walking and turned to her. His blue eyes softened. Hinata, I noticed you more than you think. You were always there, watching me, cheering me on quietly. I didn't understand it back then, but now I know. That strength you had, it was real. She blinked, surprised. Strength. He nodded. Yeah, you fought your fears. You never gave up on me, even when I was too dumb to see it. Hinata's heart raced. The boy she once watched from afar, the boy she admired so silently, was now looking at her like she was his entire world. They reached a small riverbank. The water shimmered under the fading sunlight, reflecting gold and crimson. Naruto sat down, pulling off his headband, letting the cool breeze brush through his hair. Hinata sat beside him quietly, her hands resting on her knees. The world felt peaceful again, almost unreal after all the chaos. Naruto picked up a pebble and tossed it into the river. You know, Hinata, I always thought I had to do everything alone. I wanted to protect everyone, even if it meant hurting myself. But today, when I thought I'd lost you, I realized something. Hinata tilted her head gently. What did you realize? That being strong isn't about doing everything alone, he said softly. It's about having someone who believes in you, someone who makes you stronger just by being there. She blushed again, lowering her gaze. Naruto-kun. He smiled. That's you, Hinata. Tears welled up in her eyes, not of sadness, but of relief. All those years of quiet love, of watching him chase someone else, of hiding her feelings behind shy smiles, suddenly, it was all worth it. She turned toward him and whispered, You've always been my light. Naruto reached out, taking her hand gently. And you've always been mine. As night fell, they returned to the Hidden Leaf village together. The streets were still in disarray from the war, but the people were rebuilding, smiling again. Lanterns glowed softly, lighting their way through the village they had both nearly died to protect. Children ran past them, laughing, and for the first time in years, Naruto felt something he hadn't felt since he was a kid: peace. They stopped at the top of the Hokage monument, looking out over the village. The stars stretched endlessly above them, and the moon reflected in Hinata's eyes like silver fire. Naruto leaned back, hands behind his head. You know, I used to sit here alone, dreaming about being Hokage. About everyone finally recognizing me. Hinata smiled. And now they do. He looked at her, grinning. Yeah, but now, I want something more. What's that? She asked softly. He reached over and brushed a strand of hair from her face. To protect this world not just for everyone, but for us. For our future. Hinata's eyes widened slightly, her heart pounding. Us. Naruto nodded. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't even know if I'll ever stop fighting. But I do know one thing. He smiled, that familiar, bright smile that once lit her darkest days. I want you by my side.